Work on these sacred geometry stones, they take me a couple of days to paint, and the reason why is first, with this big plumpy dot, I let it dry before I even attempt this first row because these dots are so tiny and I had to try to get my spacing as close to perfect as possible because the whole pattern builds off of those first couple of rows. Then once I get to the sides, I have to wait for all those dots on top to be dry so that I can hold it, so I can position the stone to place these dots on the bottom, and then once all the dots are dry, I can
This stone I'm doing, another sacred geometry stone. This is the pattern that I said in the other video was very simple but could be misleading. What I meant by simple is that all I'm doing with this pattern is placing a dot between the dots of the previous row, and as I move my way down, I use a slightly larger dot. I keep doing this until I complete the stone, and then I go in with some little tiny
working on a new
details to
sacred
get the
geometry
desired
piece,
effect.
and you guys wanted to know how long does it take for these dots to dry. The center dot takes the longest because I always build it up with a lot of paint, so I usually just avoid touching that thing until the next day. The smaller dots can dry in just a couple of minutes. These dots on the side are dry to the touch within a couple of hours, but with my heavy stones, I usually have to wait till the next day to be able to safely pick up. For this sacred geometry stone, they wanted an orange and blue color gradient, so I decided to start with a big blue dot and then immediately go to a dark orange, and then I will just slowly just mix this paint as I go, adding a little bit of white to it, and then I will just switch to the light blue, slowly making this color get darker as I go down, and I go in with a whole bunch of teeny tiny detail dots. And you get asked often why I don't use different color base colors for my stones. Why do I always start with black? And there are actually several reasons why. Black is like a clean slate when working with mandalas with dot art because any color palette you want is going to look really great on top. You're not going to have to worry about how the colors you're using are going to work with the backgrounds you have. Also, it ends up adding a lot of depth to your pieces, so it's always one of my favorites.